to everyone. Welcome to New York Artist Circle Holiday Season's curated exhibition, Seeing Music. My name is Yvonne Lamar-Rogers, and I, along with Cheryl Aden, co-curated this very special exhibition. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge our Seeing Music team. Diane Churchill, Elise Decker, I said that right, didn't I? Yeah. Cathy O'Keefe and Peggy Roalf. Thank you for your invaluable contributions. You all have been fabulous. I also have to thank my co-curator, Cheryl Adams. Aden, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not going to be nervous, everybody. I'm not going to be nervous. Okay. Her superb organizational skills and insight have been instrumental during our process. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Okay, you're welcome. A common element that visual art and music share is their power to evoke an emotional response. Artists and musicians create work that not only unlock emotions, but also alter one's mood, trigger memories, and act as a source of comfort and inspiration. Visual art and music have numerous parallels because they share elements such as harmony, balance, rhythm, and repetition. This is a quote from Tom Wozniak in exploring the relationship between art and music at the Oak Park Art League Third Coast Review. Okay.
For this exhibition, artists were invited to consider music from any genre that marked significant moments in their lives. They were asked to pair a work of their art with a musical selection that enhances or alters their moods, that has inspired or influenced them, or that exemplifies an identification with similar crossover characteristics, such as harmony, balance, rhythm, and repetition, or something that employs a similar process, i.e. improvisation or meditation.
In tonight's opening, we won't play the music chosen by the artist due to issues with copyright laws, but the links are provided so that you can visit the website later, perhaps when you're able to sit down and relax, accompanied by a favorite beverage, and look at the individual artworks and click on the links to hear the artist's chosen music. We hope that you will do this. You'll surely discover old favorites and perhaps discover new ones. All in all, we think you'll find it a very rewarding experience.
Since we can't play the artist selections, we thought we'd offer you some live, that is virtual music. We're attempting to set up a mood for you, to help you cease your busy thinking minds and relax into an oral meditative state, opening up into a sensual mode of listening and seeing. Our first musician is guitarist Lauren Dunn, who happens to be the husband of New York Artist Circle member Pamela Matsuda Dunn, coming to us from East Hampton, Massachusetts. Note that details of the musicians will appear in the chat. Lauren?
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now,
thank you for including me.
I want everybody to sit back, relax, and enjoy the art.
This is the first image on our slideshow. The work is by Barbara McDougall. It's titled So Free Her. Oil on canvas, 36 by 36 inches. The music that Barbara McDougall chose is called Woman in Chains, Tears for Fears featuring Oleta Adams. So Free Her is a piece inspired by the decision of the Supreme Court to overturn Roe versus Wade. When this devastating news came out, the iconic song by Tears for Fears featuring Oleta Adams, Woman in Chains, came to mind. Indeed, it's a world gone crazy keeps woman in chains. Next, we have Regina Silvers, the Harlem Blues and Jazz Band, gouache and acrylic on paper, 24 by 36 inches. Music, Take the A Train, played by the Harlem Blues and Jazz Band. Take the A Train, although an old favorite of mine, is now associated with my watching and listening to the Harlem Blues and Jazz Band playing at Jazz Foundation jam sessions. This work is based on sketches I made of them while they played. Janet Morgan, Jihan in the Vortex. Watercolor and mixed media on paper, 30 by 22 inches. Music, Fluid Mandalas by Jihan. Jihan Kamal is one of the most powerful Middle Eastern dancers I have ever seen, and I have seen hundreds. Her energy primal, her skills divine, her ride between control and ecstatic release, astonishing. She wrote and produced the music. This piece is from a sketch I did of her dancing, later adding color in the studio. Barbara Groh, Concerto No. 1, etching, 31 by 7 inches. Beethoven's Violin Concerto No. 1, featuring Itzhak Perlman. Beethoven's Violin Concerto No. 1, featuring legendary Itzhak Perlman, is one of my favorite listening experiences. With headphones on, an etching tool in each hand, my eyes closed, I draw the music. One hand interprets the high notes and the other traces the bass. It would be great if everyone muted. Thank you. Barbara Slitkin, Our House, from my Tiny Earliest Memories series, ceramic, 3 by 4 inches. Music, Our House, Crosby, Stills and Nash. Our House is titled, as is the song by Crosby, Stills and Nash. The lyric brings to me the feelings of being nurtured and sustained. It describes in very simple terms the house and how it holds the love and all its cherished attributes. Ellen Pliskin, Ross Shear, watercolor gouache, pencil on paper, 22 by 30 inches. The music, Scottish Fantasy, Opus 46 by Max Bruch, Joshua Bell, violin. What could be more fantastic than to travel to Scotland and come away with Max Bruch's Scottish Fantasy in your head and in your heart, inspiring your own vision of a fabulous landscape full of color and light. Susan Grucci, La Boheme, multimedia collage on BFK paper, 22 by 15 inches. Music, La Boheme, Charles Aznavour. Years ago, my true love of world music set in. It has become the background music to my art. Without a doubt, I now realize that not until after creating art do I then realize it has the same characteristics as the music. Sandra Taggart, Galaxy Cluster, colored pencil, heightened with whiteout on black Revere paper, 30 by 44 inches. Music, Tibetan singing bells monks, Tibetan monks chanting Om, sound of the universe for meditation. While I work on my ongoing series, The Universe Suite, I listen to Buddhist chanting. This beautiful, deep-throated music transports me to deep space. The chanting inspires my work by opening me to both the idea of possibility and the oneness of the universe. Diana Kurz, Rehearsal, Diva, oil on linen, 44 by 60 inches. Music, Dove Sono from Mozart's Marriage of Figaro, sung by Diana Damrau with the Wiener Staatsoper. I usually listen to either jazz or opera when I paint. Several years ago, I was invited to a Vienna Philharmonic rehearsal at Carnegie Hall featuring Diana Damrau, one of my favorite opera singers. This experience was the inspiration for my painting, Rehearsal, Diva. Nicholas Wolfson, Mercy Now, oil on panel, 16 by 20 inches. Music, Mercy Now. Music and lyrics by Mary Gauthier, voice and guitar by Nicholas Wolfson. I took up my guitar and sang, putting this song's yearning poignancy into the painting as it emerged upon my easel. These are, painting and song together, a prayer for mercy, a meditation of kindness, hope, and forgiveness for our precious and suffering world.
This artist is Karen Bruckner. Her work is titled Feather My Bed. It's mixed media work on paper, printmaking composite on white BFK Reeves printmaking paper, oil monotype on BFK and washi paper with red embroidery thread and copper, gold, and silver leaf. The paper size is 30 by 38 inches. Feather My Bed is a song by American singer, songwriter, and producer Shai Coltrane from her album, Let It Ride. Karen says, as a late teenager growing up in Germany, Coltrane's music stood out to me among the heavily male-dominated genres. This piano man was a woman, and she did all of it. What an inspiration. Feather My Bed is for Shai after all those years. Sandra Indig. This piece is titled Suzanne. It's acrylic. It's 66 by 54 inches. The music is Leonard Cohen, composer and lyricist. Leonard Cohen's Suzanne is a reverent song telling of longing, of passionate yearning to be held and nourished by beloved, trusting hands, to travel through the wonders and detritus of your world. Suzanne knows where to merge with the all within me and within my painted, danced, and written expressions, all that forever reaches out for love. This artist is Leah Poehler. Her work is called Double Dare, homage to legendary jazz saxophonist Fred Ho from the series Mirrors of the Soul. The medium is bronze. It's 28 by 18 by 10 inches. The music is Deadly She-Wolf Assassin at Armageddon, The Way of the Wolf. Fred Ho came into my life at a concert ballet of his work, Deadly She-Wolf Assassin at Armageddon. It was so revolutionary, transformative, and powerful that I knew I needed to meet this man. I was then selected by him for a commission of his portrait shortly before he succumbed to cancer. He changed my life, and I am forever grateful. This artist is Monroe Hodder. Her work is titled Collision Point. It's oil on canvas, 36 by 36 inches. The music is Sussman, Collision Point. Bill Sussman is a contemporary composer whom I met in Venice. We have continued our friendship, and I delight in each of his new albums. His music, Collision Point, on Spotify, is a seamless mesh of modes and moods. His music is dissonant, spiritual, intelligent but not safe, and it touches my heart. As an abstract painter, I involve myself in the structure and feeling of his music and drift inward. I named this painting Collision Point after his work. David Allen Friedman. This work is titled River Dream. It's oil pigment stick and cold wax medium over light molding paste on gesso board. It's 16 by 20 inches. Music title is On the Other Ocean, and the composer is David Behrman. David Behrman's On the Other Ocean creates a meditative landscape of layered sonic harmony, integrating computer-generated sounds with live improvising musicians, bassoon, and flute. The limited tonal palette evolves slowly over time, each player responding to the texture, sound, and color that came before. This artist is Baskove. Her work is titled Brooklyn Bridge 3, and it's oil on canvas, 30 by 30 inches. The music is Keith Jarrett, Bridge of Light. Bridge of Light is often the background music playing when I'm working. Jarrett has spoken of this piece as a desire to provoke contemplation, quote, a surrender to an ongoing harmony in the universe that exists with or without us, unquote. Suzanne Pemberton. This is called Davis. It's oil on canvas, 30 by 30 inches. The music is Miles Davis's So What on Kind of Blue, recorded by Columbia. I use different media and subject matter to develop my artwork into series-based groups. My recent work has involved translating landscapes and also music into geometric forms. My latest series, Cool Notes, derives from meditations on the music of the jazz greats, including Brubeck, Davis, and Coltrane, using a cool palette of oil paints. Barbara Swanson Sherman, Red House. It's pen and ink on paper at 40 by 26 inches. The music is Jimi Hendrix, Yonder's the Red House. I asked friends to suggest who I should choose to inhabit this house. Cousin Dan said Jimi Hendrix, because of his song, Yonder's the Red House, that's where my baby lives. I got by with a little help from my friends. This artist is Hilary Dembski. Her work is titled Schubert Symphony No. 9, The Great. It's oil on canvas, 36 by 24 inches. And the music is Schubert's Symphony No. 9 in C major. Schubert's Symphony No. 9, The Great, inspires me because it is a balance of chaos and serenity, like my life. My mark making responds to its pulse, its repeated themes, and its dramatic flourishes. Linda Stillman. This piece is titled Palindrome. It's flower stains, colored pencil, ink, and varnish on paper. It's 14 by 10.5 inches. And the music selected is Joseph Haydn's Symphony No. 47 in G major, nicknamed Palindrome. I listen to classical music in my studio. I recently heard this Haydn symphony with the same name as my drawing. A palindrome is something that reads the same backward or forward. The third movement gives this symphony its nickname. Like my drawing, the music proceeds in one direction, then the reverse.
Alice Zinnes, Could It Be? Oil on canvas, 30 by 38 inches. Music, Bach's Keyboard Partita No. 2 in C minor, BWV 826, performed by Martha Argerich. I first experienced complex rhythm, harmony, passion, and expression through art from the piano music my father, who was a classically trained pianist, played. The Bach Keyboard Partita permeates my painting for its memories of my dad, his playing, and the harmonic mood. Cheryl Intrader, Spring Tree, Blooming Pink. Acrylic, oil paints, and nail polish on canvas, 20 by 16 inches. Music, Thank Heaven for Little Girls, sung by Maurice Chevalier. Pink is the color of girlish dreams, of childhood fantasy, sleeping beauty, etc. My father used to sing Thank Heaven for Little Girls every time we went to an affair. We would look at each other and tear up. My painting and the song bring me to those wonderful childhood moments. Kristen Reed, The Music of Chance, acrylic on canvas, 24 by 26 inches. Music, Chopin. In 2012, I immersed myself in the music of Chopin in my studio while I painted. I began to see life emerge spontaneously on the canvas in the form of rainbows, clouds, fog, and rain. I could almost see the sine and cosine of the composer's vision. Irene Christensen, as of now, ink on paper, concertina book 77 by 5 inches, 22 pages. Music, Cecil Taylor. Cecil Taylor wrote original compositional music. At the Whitney Museum, I sat for hours on a sofa, drawing the movements of his compositions. It was inspirational, beautiful, complicated music. Elaine Forrest, The Blue Room, oil on canvas, 24 by 36 inches. Music, Claude Debussy, Clair de Lune. Debussy's Clair de Lune is the music associated with the Blue Room. My intention was to create a quiet painting of my grandson practicing piano. There is a gentle harmony and balance to both the painting and the musical composition. Jacqueline Safara Rada, watercolor, 22 by 30 inches. Music, Sukkot Service, Luigi Palestrina, circa 1525. Ascension Voices. The music that most informs and accompanies my creative time is chant, which dates from 5th century, and polyphonic chant, which dates from the Renaissance. The sound of these voices without instruments creates for me a timeless space in which my mind and creative energy is free to focus on just the present moment. Kit Callahan, Vat Buff, acrylic on canvas, 5 by 10 feet. Music, Dave Brubeck Quartet, Royal Festival Hall, London, November 10th, 1998. Take 5. Dave Brubeck and I go back a long time. I've been listening to his work forever. Indeed, music is the inaudible part of my paintings. Both Take 5 and Vat Buff, if I may be so bold, share random strokes, notes, held by a strong structure. Helen Alt, May the Circle. Collage and mixed media on board, 16 by 20 inches. Music, May the Circle Be Unbroken. Composers Ada R. Habershon, Charles Hutchinson Gabriel, and A.P. Carter. Performed by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Growing up, this song was an introduction to the big picture of life and death through popular culture rather than through a religious institution, and I felt the power of music to take on large and meaningful issues. Sujin Jo, Sacrifice, The Rite of Spring by Igor Stravinsky, last chapter. Oil and acrylic on canvas, 38 by 50 inches. Music, Igor Stravinsky, The Rite of Spring. From my solo show, The Rite of Spring by Igor Stravinsky, at the Painting Center in 2016. Young Maiden is chosen for offering to the gods by the elders, glorified and killed. Lois Bender, Exuberant Mirage Color Sounds, Mixed Media Collage, 19 by 30 inches. Music, Maurice Jarre, 1962, Lawrence of Arabia movie soundtrack. Love at First Sound, Endless Yellows, Sand Dunes, Galloping Camels, Beating Drums and Crashing Cymbals, a sun-sizzling melting mirage oasis, hallucinating into Paul Clay's exuberant color sounds. What Arab-British conflict, hearing only the desert's sweeping panoramic, romantic, vast freedom, shimmering in cacophonous beauty, is seeing music.
And now we have a musical break. I would like to introduce Mark Atterbury, flutist, composer, music teacher, sculptor, and friend. I will put his bio in the chat. Mark Atterbury.
Cool.
Hi, New York Artist Circle has the wonderful practice of inviting members of the curatorial team to include a work of art in each exhibition. For seeing music, we call this part of the show the coda, a musical passage at the end of a composition that brings the piece to a close. Here, the team would like to share their own pairings of art and music. First up is Diane Churchill. Title of the work is Pavan. The medium is acrylic and pastel on canvas, 48 inches by 44 inches. The music she chose is Pavan by Gabriel Fauré, composed in 1887. And this is what she says. I love Fauré, so it occurred to me to title my finished painting Pavan. A pavan is a courtly dance in duple rhythm. That seemed appropriate for a two-sided composition in mostly white and magenta, with details reminiscent of music or dance notation. Here's a work by Elise Decker, Summoning the Spirits, pencil on paper, 12 inches by 9 inches. The music she chose is called Simbi Dlo, cut number 7 on Rhythms of Rapture, Sacred Music of Haitian Voodoo from 1995. Drumming, she says, fills my spirit. My Congolese dance teacher, Titos Sompa, introduced me to master Haitian drummer, Prisoner Augustin. It was no accident. Prisoner played in my studio as I drew, and that art eventually became the flyer for his drum class. This song from Rhythms of Rapture is one of my favorites. Cathy O'Keefe did this piece called Deep Sea Danger, acrylic on canvas, 36 inches by 36. And her music is Herbie Hancock's Maiden Voyage, The Eye of the Hurricane. My thoughts about the music, she says, revolve around a sailboat that has traveled on a maiden voyage deep into the sea. During the middle of the album, I feel the wild, tumultuous waves. My colors and textures aim to reflect this visual that I experience from the music. Peggy Roalf includes Blue Marble, watercolor on Arche rough paper, 6/5 inches by 5 inches wide. The music is Walking on the Moon by the Police from Regatta de Blanc, 1979. Stuart Copeland's drums, Andy Summers' guitar, The Tingle of a Summer Romance, Sting's vocals, Walking Back from Your Place, Walking on the Moon. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. The shimmer of this pop reggae classic fills my inner space. Its intricacies, modulations, and delays express the pleasures of life in 1979 and forever. Cheryl Aden, co-curator, includes The Pretender. This is an archival pigment print, 11 inches by 17 inches. The music she chose is The Great Pretender by the Platters. Coyotes, she says, always appear to me to be smiling, an outsider attempting to fit in, but of course sticks out and is obviously pretending to be something it's not. I love R&B and doo-wop, so The Great Pretender popped off the charts and into my brain as the perfect pairing for this image. Co-curator Yvonne Lamar-Rogers. The piece she included is called Can't Take the Salt from My Stew. Can't Take the Salt from the Stew. It's a mixed media collage on stretched canvas, 18 inches high by 36 inches wide. Soulful and intimate, Liz Wright's song Salt speaks to my life journey, she says. Where I've been and what I've experienced. Each experience, positive and negative, stirred in more seasonings as to who I am and who I'm still becoming. I cannot, nor do I want to, remove any of life's ingredients that make me the person I am. Can't take the salt from the soup.
Okay, thank you, Peggy. Okay, thank you everyone for reading. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So now we're going to have some comments, some remarks from our team members. And we're going to start off with Diane.
Hi. For about 12 years, I have been singing in a choir. The initial experience of immersion in 4-part harmony was euphoric and translated immediately into my painting life. Turns out choral harmonies are a lot like color harmonies. Yes, I sometimes hear colors, and yes, I sometimes see sounds. I have loved being part of this curatorial team with efficient, knowledgeable and fun artist curators. Our work has intensified my focus on the art-music connection, and I will continue on that journey. My greatest wish is to make art that rises to the beauty of some of the music I have heard and sung. Thank you.
Lisa?
So being part of the Seeing Music team has brought me full circle to where I began. I was saturated in music in the womb. My mother was pregnant with me while performing in Las Vegas. Growing up, there was always music in the house. Both my parents sang opera. My mother performed on Broadway. My dad became a cantor, and my brother played baritone horn and piano. I learned guitar backstage from one of the musicians in the original production of Man of La Mancha that my mother was performing in. Later on, when I was studying Haitian folklore dance with Lavinia Williams, we learned the songs, rhythms, and movements that embodied each of the spirits. All that music and dance fed my artwork and how I approached teaching drawing. So, thank you, team, for bringing me back round. I look forward to seeing how it all manifests in what I make next. Thank you.
Thank you. Cathy?
There are so many ways that visual arts and music go together by methods, memories, and elements. It is no wonder that artists are also musicians and musicians are also artists. As a jazz musician and abstract painter, I employ the method of improvisation in both endeavors. Moreover, they influence one another. I always play music when painting. When playing music, I visualize the fingerings on my saxophone and color permeates my mind. I greatly enjoyed working with this team of talented, hardworking curators and felt moved by the many ways in which the exhibiting artists' paintings or sculptures and music spoke to one another.
Thank you, Cathy. Okay, Peggy.
Thank you.
Yes, she's good.
Peggy?
You.
Sorry. Hi. Okay, I'm back. I've been steeped in music my entire life. When I was a student at Boston University, I arranged my schedule so I could attend the Friday afternoon $2 rehearsal concerts of Boston Symphony Orchestra under Seiji Ozawa. My best friend at the time was an MIT student named Frank, who was so involved with early music that his hobby was building harpsichords. We used to hang out in his study and watch Bach partitas on his oscilloscope. I mean, would anybody today even know what an oscilloscope is? Anyway, I was more of a folkie, and later on I took guitar lessons in the village with one of the folk music revival greats named Frank Christian. What a time it was. I really had a blast. But I never have really been a performer, just a devoted listener. So when Seeing Music was announced, I jumped at the chance to join the curatorial team. And I thank you all, teammates, for the wonderful experience, and all of the artists whose work is in the show for bringing forward their ideas about art and music.
Peggy.
I am Cheryl. As you know, I'm a fine art photographer and with a degree and a background originally in theater and music. Music has been a part of my life in many different ways, always. I'm thrilled to meld my passion for music with my passion for fine art. And I thank Yvonne for asking me to join in this venture, and for all of her work and the team's work, and also all the artists. Everyone has just been fabulous. And I think it's a great show.
Okay. I don't have to unmute myself now. There was a song that came out many years ago by the OJs, and it was titled, "I Love Music." That song still resonates with me to this day. Music, all types of music, are integral to my everyday life. Just like I couldn't imagine a world without art, the same goes for music. Music and art, they go hand in hand. This has been an incredible experience with the team members. I know I said thank you before, I'm saying thank you again. Thank you. Okay. So now we're going to introduce a few of the artists that participated. We'll start off with Barbara Roalf. I'm going to give you a little discussion on their work.
Hi.
Hi, Barbara.
Thank you. Thank you, Barbara Grow.
Mhm.
First, I want to thank Yvonne and Cheryl and the whole curation team. And I'm honored to be selected as one of the artists. Everybody is so talented. I loved watching all the slide presentation, and I'm also honored to be able to describe a little bit of my process in the piece I did for this exhibition called Concerto Number 1. And I grew up listening to classical music, blasting from my parents' hi-fi stereo system. And it was Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff and Beethoven. So one of the pieces that I have kept in my heart for all these decades is Beethoven's Violin Concerto in D minor. And I have a recording that I've been listening to for years and years featuring Itzhak Perlman. And it's the most fantastic experience listening to this music. It makes me cry every time I hear it. And that's why I decided to bring it into this this process. In my art production, I do contour drawing, blind contour drawing, and I do it in carving, painting, and etching. So for this piece, I took a etching plate and I put it in front of me, and in my left hand, I had a tool, etching tool. In my right hand, I had an etching tool. I put my headphones on and I closed my eyes, and I used my left hand to listen to the bass and the deep resonance of the orchestration of the concerto. And with the right hand, I tried to pick up the frequency and the speed and the slowness of Perlman's violin, and it very discordant, high-pitched sounds. So I tried to combine my two hands to create the concerto with the bass and the treble. And when the music stopped, I put the tools down. It was a 45-minute concerto, so I ceased etching at that point. And what I experience, I think, with this kind of process is the honesty that having a connection between the brain and the hand, the ears and the mark making, it's just very honest, and that's concerto number 1.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for inviting me to talk, and that was my process for this piece.
Great. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, you're welcome.
David?
Yes, hi. I also would like to thank Yvonne and Cheryl and the whole curatorial team for all their work on this. And it's really an honor to be part of the group and part of the artists in the show. My painting, River Dream, was reflects a piece of music that has lived with me for a long time. It's a piece by David Behrman, with Arthur Stidful on bassoon and Maggie Payne on flute. I first heard this piece when I was a senior in college at SUNY Albany, and my dear friend Al Giamarnaro, who was a music major, I was an art major, but had a tough time deciding between art and music. He came home with this LP at the time, there were no CDs, and played this piece by David Behrman for me. So the incredible thing that well, at first I was just so moved by the sound of the piece. It's just a gorgeous meditative soundscape. But the way he created it really reflects, there's a lot of connection I have with his process. He established some very clear constraints. Basically, it's not just the two musicians, the bassoon and the flautist, there's also a computer. That is a third musician, if you will. So he programmed the computer to listen to the sounds that were being created by the bassoonist and by the flautist. And he also programmed into the computer that there were 6 pitches that he gave put into the algorithm. And the computer would listen to the musicians would listen to the computer. He defined the things like the attack, the decay, so it's really an improvisation. But when you listen to the music, and I strongly encourage you to listen to it, it's produced by Lovely Music, and there's a link in the show there. It creates this gorgeous sonic landscape, just using these 6 pitches. And in my painting, I also use a very limited palette, and I don't use brushes. I use my fingers. And I wear nitrile gloves. So it's almost like finger painting. And I'm a musician as well. So, whether it's piano or violin or canvas, with paint on my fingers, I feel like at times like I'm playing an instrument when I'm painting. So the blues that you see in the painting, and there's also greens and whites and a little bit of red, reflect the 6 tones that are heard in On the Other Ocean. And it reflects the sonic landscape by creating a tonal landscape. It's very, very meditative. And I encourage you to listen to the piece while you take a look at the painting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So now we have Sandra, right? Yes. Sandra. Is Sandra Taggart here? Oh, there she is.
Oh, then
Okay.
you,
Okay, I'm unmuted now.
Okay.
And I want to say, I was just saying thank you to the whole curatorial group for putting together such a thoughtful show. I know it was a lot of hard work. That shows too, because it's just very intelligently put together and so thoughtfully and meaningfully. So thank you very much. As for me, the work in my series, the Universe Suite, including Galaxy Cluster, the piece in this exhibition, is inspired by Buddhist chants, particularly the sound Om. In many Eastern thought systems, Om is the primordial sound of the universe. When produced, it creates a reverberation in the body. Actually, it can feel like the sound reverberates into the entire cosmos. It is the chanting of the sound by deep guttural voices that inspires the work I do with the images of the cosmos. By being immersed in this chanting, I feel released from the mundane and can move freely into the great expanse of the universe. The work itself is very meditative, hard word. It requires many repetitive marks with colored pencils to pull from form and light up from the black ground of the paper. As I continue to make marks, stars and galaxies and star clusters and galaxy clusters appear. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Irene Christensen, you're next.
Yes. Hello. Okay. Am I supposed to see myself?
Yes.
Yes. Well,
Irene,
okay.
there's Irene. Okay.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm in particular very, very pleased to be able to show the concertina book I made sitting on the couch at the Whitney Museum for hours listening to Cecil Percival Taylor's music. That was in 2016 and he died in 2018. I didn't know his music before I encountered it in 2016, but it's something that I feel is very much something that I can, music I can relate to. My concertina books are in and of themselves musical, just as music and art are essential survival tools for man and nature alike. Taylor was classically trained and he was one of the pioneers of free jazz. His music is characterized by an energetic physical approach, resulting in complex improvisation. So then in 2016, when I was sitting there and listening to his music, I was also thinking about what I was doing already in 1970 when I was at the Avery Fisher Hall listening to classical music. And I had this little notebook where I sort of did doodles, but I saw something in the doodles and they became part of who I am. So I employ a process of creative exploration and intuition. And I work each double page in isolation, folding it back before beginning the next. And again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to be part of this wonderful show. Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for your contribution to our show this evening. Now, at this point, if we have anyone has any comments or questions for any of the artists or comments about the show, we're going to take just a few minutes before we move on to the next. So I guess I have to read from the chat. Okay. Do we have any questions?
Yvonne, this is Karen. I have something to share. I wasn't going to talk because I always talk, but just 10 minutes before we started the Zoom, I was watching the PBS NewsHour and they had a segment on today about, I think it's called synesthesia, which is like the opposite of anesthesia. So where you feel nothing, you feel everything. And they were portraying a few artists who have a neurological condition where they see music. And I thought this was just the weirdest thing that this was coming on 10 minutes before our Zoom, but there's sort of the sensations are crisscrossed in a way. So they not only they can see something and hear it at the same time, or smell it, and they were talking to a painter who basically can associate when she listens to a piece of music, she sees a specific color, or another guy sees specific shapes and they form in front of him while he is listening to that music. So if anybody has a chance to go see a recording of this, it's definitely, it fits this whole thing so well. That's why I had to bring it up. And thank you for all you did.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very interesting. I have to check that out myself. Okay. Diane? Unmute. Diane, you have to. She's talking.
Sorry.
Okay, there.
I wanted to just respond really quickly to Karen, because I've read articles about this synesthesia, and Joan Mitchell, who now has got this great exhibit in Swerner, she's considered a synesthetic as well. She's one of many. I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you.
That explains a lot.
So
Thank
did I
you.
see Peggy? Unmute. Okay.
I think the original synesthete was Kandinsky, and the show at the Guggenheim last fall, I guess it was, kind of brought that out. A lot of the earlier works were involved with that.
Thank you. Okay, did anyone else have any comments or questions? No. Okay, so what we're going to do now is someone that's been very important to us, it's been very helpful, and that's Lois. And Lois, would you like to have a moment to share your thoughts with us?
Well, Yvonne, thank you so much. This show is so provocative and one of the most interesting themes I have come across in general. And it was just so intimate to put together the music with art. And I was thinking about how it would be to make your portrait up. Who am I in music? What are my favorite pieces of music? And I have to work hard because it's one of those areas where I don't feel as close to music as I do maybe to poetry and art, but it made me really want to know more and investigate it. And I was so curious about all the music that everyone loves. And it would be so great to see portraits of people through their music. So your team was fantastic. I mean, really worked well together, and really envisioned how this curatorial program can be with us artist members getting to know each other more and better, and forming new friendships, relationships, and leading to new projects and interests. So I thank you for developing the group in the ideal way that we all out of us envision. And I look forward to more shows with you that other people do. So thanks to the team and you and Cheryl. Well done.
Thank you, Lois. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, now.
Yvonne, did I see that Sandra had her hand up? Yes, Sandra.
Is she? Okay, please.
Yeah.
Yes. Unmute.
Can you unmute Sandra? Sandra, you have to unmute.
I did.
Okay.
Good.
I did. It takes a little while. Along with this, I've been working in many different fields all my life, and I have a book published. You can't really see the title, but it's called Talking Colors, Seeing Words, Hearing Images, and it pairs my paintings with my poetry. One does not illustrate the other, they stand alone, but the sentiment is very much the same. And I very much believe that there are many people, particularly artists, I don't know if that's exclusive, that have the gift or carry the weight of synesthesia, hear sound, see words, hear images, so forth. So I consider it a blessing. I think that this program was, incredibly intelligent and thoughtful and just exquisite. I want to thank the makers of this program. My book is, I believe, still on sale on Amazon. I think it's worth a look through if you're interested in how different modes of expression can come together. And there is a long, long history of verbal and visual imagery. So, we just returning to that and beginning to appreciate different forms of expression. It's not just one thing, it's many, many things that go on. And we have, I'm a therapist as well, so I appreciate the rising to the level of communication, even poetry and the words, the music, to communicate so that we can talk about this. And I think you all did an incredible job. The participants, the curators.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandra. Okay, I see another hand from
See
Regina.
Regina.
And then after that, we're going to move on. We still have a little bit more. Okay, Regina.
Yeah, I was really blown away when I looked through this last night, and I was happy to see it again today. I just found it fascinating, and it's thrilling to see how everybody approaches their work and their way to work differently. It's like nobody here is going through the easy way or the commercial way, but I mean, it was just such a revelation to me to see how people approach doing their artwork, and then with the connection to the music, it was even more so. But I just want to congratulate all the artists I know who are just really so, what's the word, real, who are just so sincere and who keep searching, for a way to express. And I'm just thrilled to be part of you all. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Regina. Okay, now I'm going to do a final thank you to our team. As I said before, this was an incredible team to work with. Everyone was easy to work with. We actually had fun at meetings and we got it done. And I have to say again, thank you, Cheryl. You know why. So I also want to thank Lois and Eileen, Fran, and the Clear Dev team, James and Paul. Very helpful to us. Now we have one more little treat for you. Diane, would you like to introduce?
Yes, the treat is another bit of flute music from Mark Atterbury. Go, Mark, take it away.
All right, a few brush strokes of sound, if you will, brief musical haiku.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to Lauren as well. And I have to just add my quick thanks also to Yvonne for inviting me to join you in this venture. This has been great, and our team, as everyone said, has been fabulous. We really would love for everybody to take some time, sit down by yourselves and look at the art and listen to the artist selections. I think you will find some surprises, and it's very fulfilling. It's very rewarding. I think you'll have a good time if you do that. This is going to mark the official end of the meeting, but before I do that, I have one more thank you, and that is to thank the artists who allowed us to use their work for the banner. That would be Cheryl Intrater, Regina Silvers, and Monroe Hodder. Thank you so much. I think it's really nice. It's lovely that you consented. Thank you. We're going to end the meeting at this point, but if anybody would like to stay and continue to converse a little bit, we've got maybe another 10 minutes maybe to do that. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And yeah,
Thank you, Cheryl. And Yvonne and everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Wonderful evening.
Thanks for all these really nice, I'm going to make sure to save my chat because there's a lot of really nice comments in the chat. Thanks for that. That's good.
Yes. I haven't had a chance to look at the chat.
Yeah. Some really nice comments. Thank you.
It was so inspiring. I'd love to hear a lot of all of us talk about more music and what inspires us. I mean, it could be another informal get together. The rich topic, and I want to hear more about what makes people love the music they love, and through their eyes. So it can keep going. It's Cheryl and Yvonne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheryl.
Okay. I think is everyone. We have unmute yourself.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi. Tell me, who amongst you all got a chance did you split up listening to music so you could yourself see the music, hear the music or see the music by looking at the art? How did you all manage that?
We all listened to all of it.
You did. Good for you. That's fabulous. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be doing that soon. I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah, I had a lovely afternoon of just, a cup of coffee and earplugs on and listening to everything, every single selection. And it was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience doing it that way. Just listen to all of it.
Because you get to hear things that you never listened to before.
Yes,
definitely.
I did.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's what made it so interesting. That's what really made it interesting, listening to music other than what you usually listen to. It's to open you
Has
up.
anyone ever tried closing their eyes and really, really concentrating and see if you really come up with color? Because it comes up when you're listening to music. It can come up and you're surprised at yourself when someone tells you that they have the same experience. Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. Very true. I see someone clapping their head. Anybody?
Well, one of the ways that I learned about color was listening to music, because all the tones is like color, the subtle relationships. And I remember when I was studying color theory, I would just lay on the bed and listen to music as color. And I still do that.
I think also the textural qualities and the and rhythm. Rhythm is just so essential both to visually and sonically, but also texturally. The timbres of the sound are like the different hues in the colors. There's a lot of crossover.
Okay. Very good.
I loved, Mark, I love that long, what is that long flute that you played at the very end?
Yeah.
That's a bamboo bass flute. It's made by a California bamboo flute maker. It plays in the key of C, but an octave below a normal flute.
Wow, that was very cool.
Thank you.
Yes, it was.
I played the flute, but I always was bugging my band director to get me an alto flute because I didn't like the really high I really like that mellow like tone. So he never got me one though.
Completely. Yes, I'm actually shopping for an alto right now.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Okay, there's a question here. What does Lauren, the guitarist, have to say?
And then it doesn't say what.
I know.
I don't know.
He can say whatever he wants then. It's an exciting,
yeah.
An open-ended question.
Lauren, are you still here? I don't know if he's.
I don't think so. He's still here.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would like to confess something.
Okay.
Which is I cannot listen to music while I make art. I can listen to Buddhist chanting, but I cannot listen to music because the problem with me and music is if I hear music, no matter what it is, I have to dance. So that's really what happened. I just dance. So I never listen to music in the studio because I would never get any work done. I might choreograph something fabulous, but who would know? So that's my confession about music and art. I love them both, but maybe I love it too much.
You could dance your paintings, you know.
No, I can't. I've tried, you know, because I love music so much, but I cannot hold still enough to actually work with my hands while I'm dancing. It's really, I guess I could try that. If I do it, I'll send you all a copy of what
that would be great.
Painting while I'm dancing.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I've taught dance and paint a number of times, which is really fun. Which is basically dancing with brushes and crayons and all that kind of stuff in your hand and hitting the paper on the walls and floors and ceiling. Really fun.
I saw that
I'm gonna try it.
Leah Polar had her hand up.
Hand from Leah Power.
Yes, hi. Wonderful, wonderful, and so honored to be part of this. As a sculptor working in bronze tends to be monochromatic with the patinas. So I just wanted to interject that for me, color is light.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
See that.
What it's made of, colors, right?
All different colors, right. I remember that when I was studying photography and it was black and white. And so we talked about color in that way, the light and different colors in white. So I can relate to what she's saying there. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm trying to see if there are any other comments or questions, because we may decide that this is going to be it for the evening. Anyone else?
I would like to see a sequel.
You want to see a sequel? I just
wait a few years.
Yeah. Like Cheryl was saying, we encourage everyone to sit down with whatever it is your beverage, your favorite beverage. Look at all the art and click on each artist's music choice. It's a wonderful experience.
All right.
So check it out. And I want to thank everyone for attending. It means a lot to us. We all worked hard on it, and I think it turned out pretty cool.
I think so.
It was great.
So thank you to all the artists, the participating artists. Thank you to our team and all the visitors, all the people that came to share this with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love
Thank
being a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to officially end now.
Mhm. I'm stopping.
Okay.